I'm pleased to say I'm joined by the newly crowned two-time world champion, Peter Wright. Thanks for the time, Peter. How are you doing?
I'm very good, mate. Very good, thank you. It's good to be world champion again. To have Sid back in the house.
I'm sure it is. Well, we spoke the day after your first world title win 2 years ago, and you said it sounded pretty good being called a world champion. What does it sound like being referred to as a two-time world champion now?
Well, obviously it's even better, isn't it? Just to win it once is great. Never mind winning it twice. But, I feel like I can carry on. But obviously there's plenty of people out there who will try and stop me. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this year, obviously, because 90% of people or 80% of people have had injections and everything, so it shouldn't be nowhere near as bad as lockdown like it was, when I was last time champion, where didn't get really to celebrate it properly and dragged around as world champion.
Fingers crossed for that. I remember you also saying you celebrated with a nice cup of tea the night you won the first one. Was it the same for this one, or did you go for something a bit stronger?
This time it was a cup of Yorkshire tea and a pot noodle, and one bean breville as well, and that was it.
Very nice. We'll come back to this winner a bit later and rewind back to when we last spoke, just after your world match play, when you said before that you'd win the match play and the worlds. Why were you so confident you'd do the double of those two events?
Just because I've focused on them, because obviously winning the worlds and not winning anything else, people might go, you ain't won the match play, which is one of the best tournaments in the world as well as, So obviously I knew that I had the experience of being in a final of it before and getting to a few semi-finals and quarter-finals of it. So I've always liked the tournament and the venue and everything. So it's just like I knew deep down if I put the hard work in and focused to get up to that tournament and focus for it and everything, I had a really good chance of winning the match play. And obviously I know what it takes to win the World Championships as well, obviously. So I just put that into play as well as before this World Championships.
Well, after the match play, the next TV title that came your way was the World Cup. You told us you'd be back representing Scotland, but you weren't sure if Gary Anderson would join you. How close was he to playing, or was it the travelling that put him off?
I'm not sure. I can't answer that question really, but I think he was. He was all for it when we was talking a couple of months before that, or a month before at least, something like that. He was up for it and everything, so it must be something drastic for him not to pull out, because obviously he loved winning it, together first time, and he would have wanted to go back and try and pick it up again, but unfortunately something else come up.
John Henderson took his place, and for a lot of neutral fans, seeing John Henderson win his first PDC title by winning the World Cup was a special moment. What was that weekend like with John? You two seemed to just click straight away.
Yeah, I've always been a big friend of John. Anyway, I've always, I've helped him out in the past with some light practice routines to build his confidence up and stuff like that. Just passed that on to him, and we just gel and clicked, and it was an honour to play, darts with him. He's such a lovely, lovely guy, an amazing dart player, and he carried me all the way through the whole tournament. So, I'd done the odd bit, but he done all the hard work.
We were chatting on our show after the World Cup about how Hendo would go after winning the World Cup. Would it be similar to Johnny Clayton and Rise, or be like another of my favourite players, Stompy and slip away? Hendo missed out on the Worlds, but he's kept his tour card for this year. Do you see him kicking on this year?
I hope so. I hope he does. He's capable of doing it easily. But, darts is a hard game, and people just like beating champions. And obviously we're World Cup champions, and then people out there just don't care who you are. So it's a very difficult game.
On the subject of Scotland, two players that we need to mention off the back of the Worlds. William Borland winning his first round with a 9-darter. You've seen a lot in darts, but what was your reaction when you saw that?
Oh, well, I was watching it. I was on the same night, wasn't I? I was waiting, and it was like unbelievable. Wow, when to do it? That was the best time to do it, wasn't it? Oh my God! But yeah, what a reaction from him. But I've seen Willie play before, and he's such a good player. He's still learning, and he's a player for the future.
Alan Suter making the last 16 on his Ali Pali debut. It's been an impressive first year for him on the tour. What have you made of how he's got on so far, while also still working as well?
Yeah, what man. I really like him. I introduced myself to him at the beginning of the year. I think it was in Bolton. Welcomed him over. Well done getting your tour card. I think, and then he ended up beating me. I think he's beat me 3 times this year. It's always been pretty close as well. What a dart player. He's really, 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 really good. And he runs the youth academy, the junior darts academy up in Scotland as well. And obviously he's firefighter, and he trains dogs as well, doesn't he? He's what can't he do?
I don't know where he gets the time to do all of it all.
Yeah.
Back to you though, and after a few early exits on TV after the World Cup, we saw you back in the business end of events, the final, the Grand Slam. Then you won the Players' Championship finals, that 62 finish with the one dart double 16. Ryan Searle waiting on 24 in the decider. That must have felt good. Obviously it felt amazing. I've done pretty well at the tournament, beat some good players on the way through, some form players as well, and obviously Ryan was one of them form players. Johnny Clayton, MVG, was starting to play some good darts again. So that gave me the confidence to go into going into the World Championships. And I've never done well in the Players Championships, apart from obviously semi-finals the year before I lost against Merv when it was played behind closed doors. But it was good to be back at Minehead and in front of, about 4,000 mad people. Yeah, it's great. Well, let's get on to this latest world title win. You kick things off with wins over Ryan Meikle, Damon Heta, Ryan Searle to get into the last 8. How are you feeling coming back on New Year's Day for that last stretch? Because it is such a long tournament played over those 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's good to obviously win your first game before the Christmas, and then as I say, it just feels like a different tournament again when you go back, and then obviously you're there. I don't know how many days I was there afterwards. But it was just like, the more worrying thing was all the COVID that was going around with the players, and the players dropping here, there and everywhere. And we was trying so hard, father-in-law Paul and Joe, and we was like, if we had deliveries, we'd wash hands as soon as we get deliveries, and then when you've opened it up, wash hands again, and then obviously once you've eaten and you packed it all away, wash hands again. It's just like, you have to be so careful, and then every time I'm taking a test, I'm going, oh, please be okay, please, because you want to be in the World Championships, and it's obviously not very nice, having them nervous thoughts, and even though you've done everything and stuff like that. But yes, it was a horrible time.
Yeah, I was going to touch on that. The virus obviously playing its part with 3 players unfortunately testing positive and forced out. We saw you wearing the mask on the walk-on, and what you just said there, it sounds like you took every precaution that you could so that you weren't going to get tested positive. Yeah,
that's all you can do, can't you? There's so many fans that want to, signatures on the walk-on and have a quick photo and everything with you, and you just can't, you can't take that risk. Some of them understand, but some of them, got a bit funny with it, but it's our living. It's the World Championship. You can't make them mistakes,
Absolutely. Well, after the New Year's Eve break, you came back, you beat Callum Ridds in a thriller, then you beat Gary Anderson in a thriller, and you said that game against Gary was your best performance ever. What was it that you were most proud of about that game? Because it looked like a proper battle on the stage between you two.
Yeah, well, that game was just unbelievable. It was just like, obviously, I tried to get as many sets lead before, Gary actually kicked in, because I knew he was playing well in them other sets, and I was like just nicking them. And hitting the right shots at the right time to win the sets and stuff like that. But I knew he was going to come back like a train, and it's just like it was just going to be 180s after 180s and everything like that. But I managed to keep in front of him, and it was just great. It was great being in the match. It was just like, it was hitting tons of trebles. I think I hit 24 180s, didn't I? Something like that. I think he had 15, 16 180s. So it must have been great for TV and great for the crowd. So, I just enjoyed it because, obviously because I won. Even if I'd lost that game, it would have been, wow,
We loved watching it. And the next day you're back for the final. That was your third world final. Obviously you'd been in one in 2014. You'd won your next one. Preparation wise, coming off the back of that semi-final the night before, the final not until 8 o'clock, 8:15. How does the preparation go on that finals day?
The night before, it was like, I thought, I'll go to sleep pretty easily, as the final before. I couldn't sleep all night because, it was just like crazy thinking I'm in the final again, blah, blah, blah. But this time I thought, no, this is, I'll get to sleep pretty easy. No, I'll just lay there for about 2.5 hours sleep. Because the adrenaline was like going, oh God, I'm in the final again. Oh, yeah, so I tried to stay in bed as late as possible. I think it was about 9 o'clock I got up, 9:30. And then obviously showered, ready, get the hair done, obviously. And have a bite to eat, and then get to the venue and just do lots of media stuff, and then practiced and more practice.
And I'm sure you've seen the stats doing the rounds, but from 5-4 down in sets, 2-0 down in legs, you won 9 of the next 10 legs, averaging 113. I'm sure I speak for a lot of our listeners when I say, how did you do that?
It's just don't give up. And it's just, I knew I had the game in me, and it was just like it wasn't quite happening throughout the whole match. I wasn't finding it because I was moving. I feel like I was moving my body too much, my head too much on the release of the dart. It wasn't smooth, but later on when I got under more and more pressure, it was actually. And when I stopped telling myself off in my head, I was more. I don't know. When I got more under pressure, I got more relaxed and more focused, and that just tightened the darts up, and they weren't going everywhere. And it was nice, started to group nicely. So that's just the concentration, and obviously all the hours of practice you do before, and remembering what you've done in practice, and bringing it up on stage.
Definitely. Well, that was your second world title. Did it feel any different, the emotion, straight after that double 16 goes in? George Noble saying game shot in the match to when you won the first one against Michael?
Obviously, the first one is just like, because it's the first one, isn't it? So, yeah, this one still felt really, really, really special, and it's just, but, it was a lot harder because we didn't ask our guests to come down. Because of the COVID situation and stuff like that, so we could have had guests, but we don't want them to come down because of COVID. They getting COVID or us getting COVID, so so it was only like Joe and her dad who was there to support me again.
Yeah, I was going to touch on those two, your wife Jo and her dad Paul, on stage with you after to celebrate the win with the trophy. How much of a support have those two in particular been in your career? Because we always see them in the crowd.
Yeah, they're always there for me. Even if Paul going to the shops and stuff like this, and go and get food, and and cooking the food sometimes late at night when we get back, and just stuff in general. And drives me places when Joe can't drive because of her back and stuff like that. And obviously Joe's my manager, and my wife, my therapist, she's there for everything, and the hairdresser, she's there for when I don't win tournaments, when I'm down, and she's there to pick me up, and then she's there when we put all the hard work and we win. So it's just, it's great to have them both.
Well, you're on a massive high now, and I know that the money side of it doesn't interest you, but I remember you telling me about how when you were unemployed for 4 or 5 years, living off £14 a week, you couldn't afford to enter tournaments. Yeah. Now you're the first player to pocket that record, 500 grand twice. Back then, would you have believed something like that was possible?
No, no, not at all. But yeah, it's just living your dream. You just believe in yourself, or just all the practice and your dedication, wanting to become a world champion, and as long as you got that inside you and you don't stop believing, then why not?
You talk about the practice and dedication. How soon did you get back on the practice board when you got home to East Anglia after the final?
I threw some darts the following day. Yeah, the following day. So.
And everyone who's picked up a dart, they obviously practice at home, dream of becoming a world champion. What's that feeling like when you get home after becoming world champion and you have a throw on your board at home again?
What's it feel like? We have to. To be honest, you have to get just on with the next tournament the following year. Just get on to practice your next one. You've done that one. You've ticked that in your box, and just get on with the next one. You don't live on the past on that bit. So.
You also said after the win about how you have a target on your back again now as the world champion. It reminded you of when you wanted to beat the likes of Eric Bristow, Bob Anderson in exhibitions. Do you have any stories from those early days of playing those legends in local events exhibitions?
Not really, but I've just been really nervous against them and stuff like that, and just in awe of the guys of what they've done for darts and the game, and I think and now I'm one of them, so hopefully I can carry on winning, carry on picking up more titles, and before I even think of retiring.
Let's finish up by looking ahead then. And when we spoke after the match play, I informed you that no Scotsman had ever been world number one in the PDC. You're well aware now that you're very close to going price for that top spot. You must fancy ticking that milestone off the list now, given how close you are.
Yeah, most definitely. That's definitely my target this year. I think I'll automatically go to number one in middle of February, I think, because of Gezi defending one of the Europeans. So I'll automatically go to number one. But yeah, I want to have many battles with Gezi this year, and it should be interesting. Should be great darts.
It's around a month before the Masters and the start of the new season. I know you said you've got a wedding coming up next week. How do you plan on spending these next few weeks? Will you try and get away on holiday, or is it just going to be relaxing at home with the family?
I'll just be at home relaxing with the family. I don't want to go on holiday. I don't want to catch COVID for the first lot of tournaments, because straight after that we got the Premier League. So no, just keep safe, keep at home, and that's it, and just get on the board.
Definitely. Well, a big game that we've got to look forward to is, of course, our rematch. Now you've won a second world title. Surely now you want to continue the trend of doing things twice and beat me for a second time.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll have to definitely organise something. So, yeah, we'll get something sorted.
Good man. And lastly, obviously the wedding for your daughter next week. I have to ask, if the DJ plays Don't Stop the Party, will you be on the dance floor?
Yeah, I'll be walking out the friggin' door.
Brilliant. Well, Peter, it's a pleasure to chat to you. Really appreciate you taking out so much of your time to have a chat with us. Congratulations again on the second world title, and wish you all the best this your second year as world champion.
Okay, mate. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.